For every swing, every moment, the Milwaukee Brewers fight. It's not just about hitting the ball, it's about leaving a legacy.
What's up, Brew Crew? Welcome back to the channel. This is the place for the deepest analysis and the hottest news on our Milwaukee Brewers. Before we dive into what was a night of extreme emotions at American Family Field, I need to ask you for something. If you're as passionate about this team as I am, and you want to get exclusive insights and analysis that goes beyond the box score, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell right now. I work hard to bring you the details that matter, and your support is crucial. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe. Done? Great. Let's get to it, because last night was a roller coaster that took us from heaven to hell in a matter of minutes, and we need to talk about it. We have a massive 9-3 win in Game 1 of the NLDS against our rival, the Chicago Cubs. A dominant performance that should be a cause for pure celebration. However, a giant shadow looms over this victory, a shadow that could completely redefine the course of this series and our entire postseason. I'm talking, of course, about the injury to Jackson Chourio. But before we get to the painful part, let's give credit where it's due to the man who turned the mound into his personal stage, Freddy Peralta. What we saw from Fastball Freddy was nothing short of historic. He didn't just give us the ace performance we desperately needed to open a playoff series. He etched his name into the franchise record books. Peralta was absolutely electric. For 5-2-3 innings, he was the definition of dominance. 9 strikeouts. Let that number sink in. 9. In a postseason game, against a dangerous lineup like the Cubs, Peralta was simply untouchable for most of the night. With those 9 Ks, he tied the franchise record for a single postseason game, joining legendary names like Don Sutton, Giovanni Gallardo, and Brandon Woodruff. That's no small feat. We're talking about putting your name alongside some of the greatest pitchers to ever wear a Brewers uniform. He allowed just 4 hits and gave up 2 earned runs, both on solo home runs, one to Michael Busch early in the game and another to Ian Happ later on. But outside of those 2 pitches, he was in complete control. He dictated the pace, attacked the strike zone, and kept the Cubs' hitters off balance. This was Peralta's first career postseason win. And what a way to get it. He wasn't just good. He was the anchor we needed. He gave us the stability required for our offense to do what it did. And what an offense it was. The first inning was one of the most impressive offensive displays I've ever seen from a Brewers team in the postseason. After Busch's home run put us in a 1-0 hole, our team's response wasn't just swift. It was seismic. Christian Yelich, Bryce Turang, and William Contreras led off with back-to-back-to-back doubles. It was a show of force, a clear message that we would not be intimidated. In the blink of an eye, we turned the game around to 2-1. The pressure kept mounting. A crucial error by Cubs second baseman Nico Hoerner opened the door even wider, and we kicked it down. An RBI single from Blake Perkins helped extend the lead, and when the dust settled, we had scored 6 runs. 6. In the first inning of a playoff game. That tied another franchise record for the most runs in a single postseason inning. It was an explosion that not only gave us a comfortable lead, but also seemed to break the spirit of the Cubs starter, Matthew Boyd, and the reliever, Michael Soroka, who had to come into an impossible situation. At the center of it all was our phenom, Jackson Chourio. What he did in the first 2 innings was something that had never been seen before in MLB history. He became the first player in postseason history to record 3 hits in the first 2 innings of a game. 3 hits. He was seeing the ball like a beach ball. He drove in 3 runs in that span, with a combination of singles and an infield hit with the bases loaded. He was the catalyst, the engine that powered that overwhelming offense. He was playing with a confidence and a talent that seemed destined to take over the month of October. The offense didn't stop there. In the second inning, we added 3 more runs, pushing the score to 9-1. It was a relentless assault, with contributions from nearly everyone in the lineup. Everyone except Joey Ortiz got a hit, and even Ortiz contributed with 2 walks. We finished the game with 13 hits and went 7 for 17 with runners in scoring position. In contrast, the Cubs were 0 for 2, It was a clinic in situational hitting, a complete performance that showed the potential of this team when all the pieces are clicking. The win was sealed, the series lead was taken, and the message was sent. But unfortunately, the story of this night doesn't end there. And this is where the narrative shifts dramatically. This is where the euphoria of a blowout victory gives way to a deep, nagging anxiety. In the midst of that historic performance by Jackson Chourio, at the exact moment of his third hit, tragedy struck. As he ran to first base on an infield single, he lunged and immediately felt it. We saw him limp back and exit the game. The image of a frustrated Chourio punching his helmet on the way to the clubhouse is one that will haunt Brewers fans. The news that followed was our worst nightmare confirmed: a right hamstring strain. And to make matters worse, it's the same hamstring that sidelined him for almost the entire month of August. This is not a new injury. It's a recurrence of a problem we're already all too familiar with, and that makes everything exponentially more serious. Manager Pat Murphy's reaction during the in-game broadcast said it all. There was no cautious optimism. There was no typical, "we'll have to wait and see." His words were direct and grim. "It's just scary," Murphy said. "We're worried about it." It's really unfortunate. When a manager uses the word scary to describe an injury, especially mid-game, you know the situation is serious. Murphy's tone was not that of a man expecting to have his leadoff hitter back in a few days. It was the tone of a man who may have just lost one of his most important players for the rest of the postseason. And the implications of that are seismic for the Brewers. Losing Jackson Chourio is not like losing just any other player. We're talking about our leadoff hitter, one of our most dynamic bats, and a source of energy at the top of the lineup. He's the guy who sets the tone. His combination of speed, power, and on-base ability is what makes our offense go. Let's break down the strategic impact. Offensively, the hole he leaves is immense. Who takes over the leadoff spot now? Bryce Turang? Sal Frelick? While they are talented players, neither replicates Chourio's skill set. The structure of our entire lineup is forced to change. Players will have to step into roles they may not be as comfortable with, and the pressure on guys like Yelich and Contreras to produce ratchets up even higher. That offense that scored 9 runs yesterday? It looks a lot different without Chourio's spark at the top. Defensively, he's a solid outfielder, but it's at the plate where his absence will be felt most acutely, and we cannot underestimate the psychological impact. The team just secured a dominant win, but the mood in the clubhouse undoubtedly shifted from celebration to concern. Seeing a teammate, especially a young talent like Chourio, go down like that can suck the energy and momentum right out of a team. Looking ahead in this series, the situation becomes much more perilous. While we won Game 1 convincingly, the truth is our starting rotation after Freddy Peralta has its question marks. We were counting on our high-powered offense to carry some of the weight. Now, with our catalyst likely out, the pressure on our other starting pitchers and our bullpen increases tenfold. Games are likely to be tighter, with smaller margins for error. We can't expect to score 9 runs every night. The strategy of outslugging the opponent becomes much harder to execute without one of our primary weapons. Our roster depth will be tested to its absolute limit. Players like Isaac Collins, who filled in for Chourio, will have to step up in a way they might not have expected. The next man-up mentality is a cliché in sports, but it is now our brutal reality. So, here we are, Brew Crew, with a 1-0 series lead, but with a feeling of loss. Last night was the perfect example of a bittersweet victory. We celebrate Peralta's dominance and the offensive explosion, but we mourn the potential loss of one of our brightest stars. The road to the World Series just got exponentially harder. This team has shown resilience all season long, and they will need to summon every ounce of it now. Now, I want to hear from you. What is your level of concern about the Chourio injury? Who do you think needs to step up in his absence to fill this void? Do you still believe we can win this series against the Cubs and make a deep playoff run without him? Drop your comments below. Let's debate. Let's discuss. For the fastest updates on Chourio's condition and the most in-depth analysis heading into Game 2, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on. I'll be tracking every detail, and will bring you the information as soon as I have it. Thanks for watching. Let's hope for the best, but prepare for a battle.